All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started then. Looks like we got everybody here, so welcome again, everybody, to our weekly Zoom meeting. Bless you, Atlas. We've got Atlas here in the background, just came from downstairs. He came to say hi and he just had a big sneeze there. So um, Atlas is doing well. For those of you who haven't heard, he just had about a month ago, he had a major injury, fell off a big cliff, 30-foot cliff before he landed and landed on his face and had to put some damage done, but thankfully it was very minimal considering what happened. And the vets are quite shocked that he's not only alive but doing so well, and he's basically making a full recovery, which is very encouraging to report because. As those of you know, he's with me everywhere. He comes to work with me every day, and just he's my right hand man. So glad to still have him around. So let's go ahead and jump right in then to today's topic. So hopefully, first of all, everybody's doing well, enjoying your time in isolation or whatever your version of that is. Hopefully it's not complete isolation, as we've talked about in previous Zoom meetings, just the importance of getting outside and, breathing in the fresh air and being in trees. So there's a couple of resources that I want to share with you guys today with as far as, today's topic, just again, to cover that, is about how do we remain calm? How do we keep stress levels up? How do we, actively reduce stress in our lives, especially in times when there's a lot of fear and a lot of panic going around? So there's a couple of resources that I want to share right off the get-go before I get into the topics that I had planned for today, and then we'll go ahead and dive in on those. So the first resource is there's a fellow named Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is a chiropractor as well, who went to the same school I did at Life University down in Marietta, Georgia. And after a bad accident and rebuilding his spine using the power of his mind, basically, he had a completely collapsed spine after being hit by a truck. He was in a triathlon on the bicycle and then got basically T-boned by a Jeep and crushed his vertebrae and was told he would never walk again, all this stuff. And he just decided not to believe it and decided to spend his time in his hospital bed rather than going through the surgery, decided to just focus his mind on rebuilding his spine, because he knew from his training as a chiropractor and just his knowing of the human body from experience as a chiropractor as well, the body is capable of doing incredible things, and it's in a lot of cases it's only limited by our minds. If you don't believe something can happen, then that causes a chemical and physiological reaction in the body and can actually limit a process or create a process from happening, or disease process or a healing process for that matter. So knowing that knowledge, he decided, okay, well, let's rebuild my spine. And long story short, he had a complete full recovery. He's now lecturing around the world. One of the things he says is that if he made a kind of a pact with creator, God, whatever his beliefs are, but said, if I get through this and if I can successfully rebuild my spine, I promise that I will dedicate the rest of my life to studying the mind and how we can access the subconscious and the superconscious and all that stuff to access these amazing, powerful, superhuman tools that we have available to us. So anyway, he's a really good resource to check out. But he has a specific meditation right now in response to the whole COVID pandemic. He thought, okay, enough of the fear. I mean, there's enough of that going around. You turn on any news outlet, whether it's mainstream or social media, whatever it is. There's a lot of fear going around. There's a lot of reason to be fearful right now. That is a very difficult place to have any critical thinking happening. We know that when we're in a place of fear, we go into our reptilian brain, which is back here in the the brain stem is nicknamed the reptilian brain. It's basically your fight or flight response. If you're in a state of fear, that's because something scared you, whether it's in your mind, whether it's an anxiety, a fear in your mind, or whether it's something that's real physically attacking you. that puts you in fight or flight. And when that happens, you can't access properly your conscious mind, your cerebral cortex, your frontal lobes, which is where the conscious thinking happens, the planning, the processing of events and things like, so that part is shut off. So critical thinking is shut off when we're afraid. So it's critical in times of fear to find ways of reducing your anxiety, at least temporarily, so that your body is not in complete fight or flight all the time. Because we know from science that when your body is in a state of fight or flight, what happens is it lowers your overall ability to cortisol levels, first of all, go up. So your adrenaline, adrenals go crazy. That's why you get adrenal fatigue when you're stressed for long periods of time, right? But what that does, it lowers your overall, hair in my mouth, it lowers your overall immune response, your, ability, for your organs and glands, everything to function properly in your body. So overall body function goes down when stress stays up for long periods of time. So, and then the other thing that happens is we lose our ability to think critically, to ask questions, to ask the right questions, to start examining the world and say, with all this, there's so much misinformation out there on both sides. It's like both sides, everybody's just spouting stuff. Nobody knows what to do. And there's a lot of confusion going on right now. And when the mind is confused, it's stressed. When you're stressed, we know what happens, right? So finding ways to reduce your stress levels greatly increase your ability to think for yourself, to think, what's going on, what can I do? How can I best take care of myself? And by the way, when you reduce stress too, the other thing that happens is your immune system functions a whole lot better. The immune function starts to ramp up. So Joe Dispenza started this meditation focusing on love. So instead of fear, the opposite of fear, the other end of the spectrum, is love. Pure love is the absence of fear. When you're in a state of pure love, your heart is completely open. There's no room for fear, right? So then that reduces stress. So he has a meditation out there called Love Bug 20. So if you Google search Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that's, I think, Dispenza, I believe is the spelling. Google his name and then Love Bug. So what it is, it's a 15-minute meditation that if you think about somebody that you love, that you want to share love with, that you want to, whether they need healing, whether you just love them, you just want to share it with them, or you really feel they need it. You can share it with them and they can either follow along or just receive the love. And the idea is that you want to pick a person a day or more and share your love with them. And, and the idea is the more people we infect or affect with love, the more love there is in the world, and the more people will be functioning, healing better, will be immune systems will be ramped up, so everybody will be better off when we're in the state of fear and anxiety about this pandemic. So really cool stuff. So check it out. The other resource that I had is forest bathing. There's if you haven't heard of this, check it out. Forest bathing. There's a woman called Linda. What's her last name? Oh shoot, Linda. No, not Linda. Diana something. I'll put it in the newsletter that follows this video, and I'll put the links to both of these resources in there so you can check it out. But anyway, this woman here has been researching trees, and she's a scientist who's been researching trees for many, many years, and is sharing her knowledge on how important trees are for not only the environment, but she really believes that if every person on Earth planted one tree, that would eliminate global warming and take care of our carbon footprint basically. And she goes into the science of how that works and which trees and what areas would be the ones to do. Anyway, really, really interesting video that I'll put the link to. It's a 30-minute video, and in the last 10 minutes of that video, if you just want to skip ahead and just see that part about forest bathing, she talks about the benefits, and this is before this 4 months before is when this video got released. This video was released where she explained the benefits of forest bathing. This has been used in Japan for, I think, thousands of years, she was saying. But it's the idea where when you go bathe in the forest, you take off as much clothes as you can. You don't have to go completely naked, but just, take off some layers, expose as much skin as you can, and just breathe deeply among the pines, especially, she says, in this area. The pines release these chemicals called pinene, and pinene improve the immune system. It relaxes the body, it lowers the stress response, and it boosts the immune system. And 20 minutes of forest bathing alone, if you're in a heavily forested area and you're breathing deeply on a warm day, she was saying the science is showing that 20 minutes a day will boost I think it was T4 cell count, something, again, it's in the video, for up to 1 month. So you can have an improved immune system for up to a month with only 20 minutes of forest bathing. So really cool stuff. Again, cool resources. Now let's get into the things that we do, some tips. So these are already 2 other tips that you can do to reduce stress. So we got 2 bonus tips here today. So I want to cover at least 3 of these. If we have time to do all 5, I'll do all 5. So I'll go through these pretty quickly today, and there's one short exercise I'll guide you through today, and the second one. The first one I want to just cover is meditation. That's a well-known one for reducing stress. I don't think I need to go into much more than it's a good practice to get into. There's a lot of different forms of meditation. As far as I can tell from everyone I've looked at, they all have great benefits. Different types of meditation claim different things, but yeah, I'd say, for the most part, yeah, that's a, look into some form of meditation, something that jives with you. And it's not the only thing, but it's a great resource. So meditation would be the first one. Time in nature. There's more and more research and researchers looking into the not only positive effects of being in nature, but the absolute necessity of it for human life to thrive. We are biologically programmed to spend the majority of our days in contact with the earth in one form or another, whether breathing fresh air directly from the trees that are emitting the fresh oxygen, to laying on the ground with very little mattresses, very little protection. That's how, biologically and physiologically we're programmed still for that. Technologically and modern comforts have allowed us to have these comfy chairs that are not, as comfy as they are really not great for our postures and our spines. There's some that are much better than others, of course, like anything, but really being outside in contact with the earth and just breathing in fresh air, forest bathing, again, this goes into that, is extremely important for just your body to function the way it's designed to, but also to reduce stress. So great thing. If you need to be indoors for a long period of time for whatever, if you're immune compromised and you really don't want to risk going outside, there's ways of grounding without actually going outside and touching the ground, if that makes sense. So there's physical things you can buy. There's things like grounding mats, and you can Google that, just grounding mats, and there's probably a couple different companies out there. I haven't researched them a ton, but I've heard people swear by them, and I've looked into the research, and they make sense. The mats are designed, they go into the grounding outlet of your house, which basically connects to the ground. So it's a form of connecting to the ground without actually touching the ground. So that's one thing you can do. The other is there's a technique called Qigong. I'm not an expert in this by any means, but my acupuncturist, I'll give credit to Dr. David Knox. He's a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner here in Nelson. Awesome guy. I've been working with him for a while, and we've done some amazing I've had an amazing healing journey with him. Everything from some very scientific things that I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense on a scientific basis how this works, to some very woo-woo things. Like I've gotten into some past life experience stuff with him that were extremely powerful and life shifting for me, just laying on his table and doing some craniosacral, combination of craniosacral and acupuncture and different techniques that he has. But I've had some pretty profound experiences with him. So if ever you're curious about trying that out, I would highly recommend him and his wife, or a husband-wife team up in Uphill, who do great work. I don't know I imagine with their status right now too with COVID, there's probably not much that they're doing for appointments currently, but once things loosen up, that would be highly recommended for stress levels. But he taught me a Qigong meditation. It's a very short thing, and I'd like to just guide you through it if I can. And David, if you're watching or listening, hopefully I do you justice in what you've taught me. So I'll do it as best I can from memory, from what I remember you guiding me through when I'm laying on the table with you. So I'm going to go along with it. I'm going to close my eyes during this. I'll encourage you to do the same if you're watching this right now. What I want you to do is just focus on taking some deep breaths in and out, focusing on completely emptying your lungs on the out breath, and full inhale on the inhale. And I want if your feet aren't already, make sure they're flat on the ground, hands on your lap, and just focus on your feet connecting with the earth. And just with your eyes closed, just picture roots growing down from your feet. Down, down. And just picture them rooting deep into the earth. And I'm not talking little spindly roots from like a dandelion or something. I'm talking roots the size of maybe half a foot in diameter each, just going down, just from your feet, just expanding and wrapping around the core of the earth. And you're sucking up energy. While you're breathing deep, you're breathing in deep golden light energy through those roots, deep, deep, up, up, up your body. Exhaling any negative energies flowing out as you exhale, and you breathe in this golden light energy. And picturing it filling your heart, and as your heart is getting this golden energy filling in your body, you feel your heart just expanding, and as it expands, your heart, you can just feel it just kind of wants to burst open with just love and golden light energy from the earth. It's just coming through, and it just starts flowing out of your heart, just overflows out and flows through your arms, into your fingertips, out your hands, out your palms, and it's just flowing, flowing, flowing as you're breathing it in and exhaling out all that negative, toxic energy that might have been stored up in there. You're opening up your heart to love, and you're allowing that grounded golden light energy to just fill your body, to energize it, but ground it at the same time. It's calm energy. And when you're ready, you can just slowly move your fingers and toes and just wiggle them a little bit. Just get aware of your surroundings again, your physical surroundings. Continue to feel that groundedness with the earth. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and just take a look at what's going on around you. Just pay attention, be calm, aware. I don't know about you, but I feel calmer. So that's a simple 2-minute Qigong meditation. You can do it anytime. You can always just probably find a way to trim this video, trim that little section out if you want to follow along, or just record it with your phone. I give you full permission to record my voice and spread it, share it, whatever, I don't care. And Dave, if you have an issue with that, please let me know before I send this out to my newsletter. But yeah, we'll make sure that's all good. The next one, the third thing is relationships, connection, and ideally physical contact is really important for us to keep stress levels down. Right now with COVID, we're limited to, people, in our house that they're recommending, or, close family. And I'm not completely up to date with where regulations will be when this airs and stuff like that. But as much as you can, those family members that you're not completely going insane with, those that you still can be loving with, try to, hug them regularly, hold their hand if it's appropriate, whatever. If it's a child, play with them, put them on your shoulder, whatever is, something that you both enjoy together, be together. Which brings me to the fourth thing. So these kind of tie in together, but when it comes to connection, and even if it's virtual connection, this fourth piece really ties in, but present time consciousness, so just being present in the moment, being in the now, as opposed to being stuck in the past or the future in our stories, right? So the more present we can be, the better off that we'll be as far as stress levels go, because fear really is just an illusion, unless it's something that's physically right in your face that you need to you need to defend yourself from. Most things are in our head, especially in modern day times when we have relative safety all around us most of the time, right? So um, being present in the present moment, when you look around and I'm in a house, it's raining outside, yes, I've got a roof over my head, there's no leaks in my roof, I'm there's no relative danger here. Any danger is made up in my head at this point. So if I can remain present, I'm less likely to be in stories, and I'm less likely to be afraid, right? So, and the last one, for me personally, I love to listen to music to calm me down if I'm feeling really stressed. Playing a specific album or whatever. Uh, I just enjoy the process of putting in something and intentionally just sitting back and listening to the music. Music is just, to me, is language for the soul. It just reaches you in a way that words can't, and I don't know. So those are my tips. Again, I just want to share, I've had some good feedback on the coaching so far. So I've been offering some, distant coaching and different things like that for those people that do want to not only just, find ways to maintain their, using these tips to help maintain you from going, too far backwards during this time. But those that actually want to also make steps forward. So if you do want to work with me as a client or whatever, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions you might have. I always start out with a free consultation. We'll get on the phone, talk about what it is that you're wanting to accomplish in your life, and go from there. So if you do want to, just I'll put the information on the bottom of this video here, and then you can just follow those links, and we'll be happy to set up a time to chat, and we'll help you not only survive but start to thrive and optimize your life. All right, well, this is Dr. Remi signing out.